So she brought five of the little pearls, right?
Yep.
Yes.
We know three of them.
Dylan, 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 Dylan. That's what she brought back. What's up, internet world? We're News 19 nerds. We're just gonna start it like this. I'm Lauren.
I'm Leroy.
I'm Michael. There we go. We'll figure out an order of whatever.
Oh snap, Michael! You comb your hair?
No,
It looks like it's kind of got some
Lord,
product
don't
in it.
no, not at all. This is dirty for me walking around my neighborhood. If anything, it's dirtier than usual. So
Oh,
It's just some juices and berries.
yeah, juices and berries and sweat. But yeah,
as you can see, I just shaved the dome, so
Okay.
I don't have that.
Mine
now
is, I don't know what mine's doing.
I shaved my face, so maybe it looks cleaner by comparison because my face looks cleaner. But other than that, no.
Yeah, I'm not shaving my face. I don't have any hair up here, so I'm gonna let this go. Old man, black Santa.
Okay. So, folks, why are we here? What are we talking about?
We are talking about Westworld episode 4.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I was going to talk about the soundtrack. This episode's.
We'll get to that part because that song.
Yeah. This week's episode was really dope. I really enjoyed this week. I was kind of like anticipating, like, okay, we need to get some more action involved, and I think this episode really did bring the action that at least I was looking for.
Yeah.
And I think I really enjoyed. I was out here without my phone again, enjoying the episode, fully engaged. But I will say that I was lost on a couple things, so I hope that you guys can help me out with some of that.
So I watched it late. Y'all watched it before me. I had other things I had to tend to.
Yeah.
So Lauren, you had texted me, bruh, and I was like, okay, let's see what Lauren talking about. And I'm not gonna lie, I thought you were full of it because as I'm watching, I was like, this is just normal Westworld stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last 20 minutes happened. Mm-hmm. And I was like, Whiskey Tango Foxtrot, what am I watching? And it kicked off like a firecracker. I just was like, what? What is going? Like, you remember in Aziz Ansari's earlier stand-ups when he was like, what? That was me. The end of that episode was fire.
So I mean, we can go ahead and get into spoilers. I guess this whatever. But my question is, do you guys like the pace of season 3 so far? Because it's moving a lot faster than season 1.
And I enjoy it. Season 1, y'all know I was asleep for season 1. Season 2, I was somewhat awake. Season 3, I am definitely awake and engaged.
I think season 1 and 2 kind of had to be a little slower because you're building this entire world. And I think 2 moved a little quicker after the whole Ford massacre. And it was a little confusing, like Lauren said, because you had the whole let's find the maze. And then you had these separate episodes where you were just like, what does the maze mean? And you had different timelines going on. You had the man in black and you had him younger, older. So this one seems to be more linear and it seems to be so much easier to follow because you have about 6 real players and you don't really have to worry about, oh, who is this? What? You don't have to do that. You know who the main characters are. You know that they have some sort of objective and how do their objectives intersect, and then it just moves. So I'm really liking season 3. Shout out to the fashion designers of this show. Dolores looked impeccable. Good. Who is dressing this woman?
I don't know. But again, like what we learned in the last episode, they're all about like the angles and everything, and she was giving us all types of sharp lines.
She's got like a Terminator / Matrix vibe. That's great. And I'm really enjoying this.
She looks like she looks like the woman who would show up in The Devil Wears Prada 2, who would be like, I want this made for me, and y'all need to, because I mean, every time she walks on camera, Dolores is she like the camera. I don't know if it's camera work, but her every time she walks on screen, it just how she moves. It's just amazing, and it doesn't seem the only other person it seems to do that for is Tandy Newton, Maeve's character. when she's on screen, it's just so fluid. How she
Yeah.
moves through the world. It's almost like watching a shark move through the water. It's like watching a predator move. No one else does that. Even when Bernard shows up on camera, he's kind of like Stubbs, Liam. No one moves like the two of them. So hats off to the fashion designers and the directors and cinematographers of this episode.
Yeah, they definitely did do amazing work on these, and I'm I know we were talking about like, are we getting the spoilers yet or not?
Yeah, spoilers.
Because I had some notes as I was watching this.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was like maybe 20 minutes in or whatever when it was that conversation with Maeve and Sirach. Yeah, and I was like, wait, Paris is gone? What year is this? Like, what is going on? So now we're learning. I like how they're incorporating a little bit more about Earth's backstory right now and kind of hinting at what year it could be. Because it's still, we know this is way in the future, but how far? And the fact that they have Paris being blown off the map, I feel like is ridiculous and one of those like apocalyptic type situations that happen apparently. So
what happened to Sirach's brother? I think we're gonna find that out in the next episode.
Yeah,
I don't know if he killed him yet.
I feel like he did something untoward towards him.
Yeah.
I think so, but I think one of the things that Lauren brought up was the real world consequences of humans' actions on Earth. And I took notes too, and some of the things that I thought was very interesting was how because I wrote number 3 is France is gone. But the two things that stood out to me were foldable tablets and in hard tablets. So like we did in our Nerd News wrap up, we talked about Samsung doing the foldable phone. Mm-hmm. And how we see Dolores and Bernard having these foldable phones. And then another thing I noticed too was when she extracted the blood from that gentleman and then gave it to Caleb's character, and how she explained to him why this blood was necessary and how they had to move quickly. And we have seen that type of technology in its infancy in today. The whole idea of biometric scanners, we saw the fingerprint. I think it's really cool that we're seeing those real world implications of like, we're in the infancy stage of it. And they're like, this is normal. And I thought it was very interesting when we saw the blood and then we advanced to the mortician and we saw the entire blood bank. And it's like, whose blood do you want? Because then remember in the first episode, Liam figured out Dolores, who she was through her blood. Like you can put together. He figured it out because she passed all of her tests. Mm-hmm. But that was probably how they found out she was not who she said she was. Mm-hmm. And I think that's very interesting. We're seeing more of the world and how it works outside of Westworld, so to speak.
Yeah. Yeah. I forgot what scene maybe it was Maeve walking into the mortician's spot, but I said I wrote Maeve is that chick, and I like capitalized like a whole bunch of exclamation marks and everything. Like I don't know, Maeve to me really stood out in this episode, and obviously I feel like this was one of her big moments too, because the fact that they could step outside of Westworld and she could still have as much control as she has and control technology, I think is really powerful. Dolores obviously has a lot of control, but I feel like Maeve, I feel like Dolores doesn't use it the same way that Maeve does. Like I feel like Maeve's is more organic, if that makes sense. Where like Dolores is calculated and she already knows that she needs to take out this thing and this thing and this thing. Where Maeve sees an issue and was like, well, clearly I know I can sense the technology around you, and so I'm going to go ahead and use that to my advantage. And so that's one thing I really liked about how different they are. Like, yes, they're both super powerful people and hosts in this universe, but seeing how Dolores might be more calculated this way, where Maeve is more organic and still is fueling all of her actions based on the fact that she lost her daughter.
I mean, Maeve is Neo, right? Essentially.
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
seeing Neo in terms of she had. What's that, Leroy?
Go ahead, because I have a
Okay.
difference in opinion, but go ahead.
I mean, she's like Neo in the sense of when he first understands the Matrix and is able to read the code to be able to control machinery. But she also has a little bit of Neo when he come into Matrix. What's the last one? Revolutions Reloaded.
Revolutions.
Yeah, whatever
Reloaded.
that is, when he comes into the real world and he still is able to kind of stop the machines for a little bit. It just kind of reminded me shades of Matrix slightly. But what's up?
I give you that. I was gonna say Maeve I'll give you that. Maeve reminded me more of a caged animal. Maeve reminded me because every time we see, like, we know Maeve is powerful and destructive whenever she wants to be, but she's very smart. She's very calculating, like Lawrence said. But in every time we see her, she is locked in a cage of someone's making, controlling her. We saw in the first two seasons, Maeve was in Westworld or Japan or Shogun World, and then we saw her in War World, and now she's out with Sirach or Sarek,
Who we still don't know if he's a real person, right?
I believe he's a real person.
He's real.
We haven't seen him interact with anybody else yet besides Maeve,
I think he's real.
A couple henchmen that he interacts with.
I mean, I believe he's real because we saw him shoot the man who helped Dolores. I think he's real. We've seen Maeve not be on her own without. In other words, I think this is why I said in the last when we first started this, Maeve to me is one of the most interesting characters because the whole daughter thing, she let that girl go. She didn't go with them to the place, the great beyond, or whatever you want to call it. But she's still on a short leash. Sarek, he had that little button because she was gonna kill him straight up, just like that, and she couldn't. And then he told her, "I built like I wouldn't release you without having some kind of safeguards." And we're still seeing her being controlled to a certain extent without her experiencing autonomy on her own without someone pulling her strings. Mm-hmm. I think that's going to be interesting because Sarek, as smart as he is, it's one of those things where it's like owning an animal you shouldn't own. And eventually that animal is going to bite you.
Oh, you mean it's like in the last Fast and Furious movie when Vin Diesel told Cypher to get his foot off the tiger's neck?
I mean, if you want to go, Tiger, we can go Joe Exotic.
If y'all seen that video,
what?
There's a video now that's out. I think it was somebody tweeted it, but it was because have y'all been seeing like those TikToks, like the Savage TikTok dance or whatever with Meg Thee Stallion? I don't know.
Carol Baskin killed her husband. Whacked.
Oh, I've seen that.
That it didn't happen. Fed them to tigers, they stack it.
I've seen.
Oh, wow.
Carol Baskin. all right. Sorry.
Only because Joe Exotic is taking over the world right now. It is the #1 show on Netflix. But the whole idea that Maeve has this power and she hasn't used it, she hasn't really escaped to where she can just live her life. There's always some motivation pushing her to do something. And I think eventually Sarek is going to find out who Maeve really is when she gets off that leash. It's just a matter of time how she figures it out. That's a very smart woman.
Maybe, I mean, because like she got stabbed this episode, and was left for dead. But we all know, like,
you can't keep a good.
Yeah, you can't really keep Maeve down ever. So maybe whatever he had in her is out now, so her failsafe won't work anymore whenever they reboot her. Or was that in her pearl or something? Maybe that was in her pearl. I don't know.
I think eventually Maeve is going to team up with Dolores because eventually they're going to see they're after the same thing. I think eventually the hosts will have to team up because they realize the threat that Sarek poses to them and their way of life. I think that's what's coming. I think the biggest thing that we found out in this episode is as much as we want to believe Dolores is a hero,
Nah, man, Dolores is diabolical.
She might be the villain.
Yeah.
And I like it a lot.
I never thought that she would, like, after season one, in season 2, that's when we learned that Dolores was on some mess. And but maybe she's not the best, you know.
But this is the thing, Lauren, you always say this, and I use it, and I attribute it to you because you were the first person who articulated it to me. Hurt people hurt people.
Yes.
So I always understand Dolores' motivations.
Yeah.
This time, Dolores has taken it maybe because what were y'all when y'all what
Leroy?
Yeah.
Whatever you said, it sounded like it was going to be real important, but you cut out. So say it again.
All right. I was like, we can always attribute Dolores' actions because she was hurt. The Man in Black hurt her. Teddy hurt her. You know, Wyatt, her dad, whoever you want to say. This is the one time where we're like, hey, well, at least for me, I'm like, Dolores, you might want to pull back. But what was the blank moment for you in this episode involving Dolores?
When Lauren, what do you want to go first?
Did I write it down?
Lauren's bro moment hit me with Maeve.
Yeah, that's when it hit me. The bruh moment hit me with Maeve. But Dolores, I feel like I was anticipating her to be, you know, on this level, so I wasn't really as. I mean, when she threw Liam Hemsworth over the banister and then just walked away, I felt
shout out to the fight choreography in that scene. That looked really good.
Yeah.
Notice what they didn't use?
What?
The scissor move.
Oh yeah, for sure. Oh, and the best thing is, as she was fighting, they did a good job of making her be like a Terminator or like an android or whatever, where she didn't really show any exertion on her face as she fought. But Liam had so much exertion. I was like, that was really good.
But you remember his shoulder was messed up because Bernard didn't really fix him because Bernard was too busy, you know, looking at his code, you know, playing doctor.
I feel kind of bad for what's Liam Hemsworth's character name on this?
Stubbs.
Because he really don't want to be involved in any of this, and he really don't have a choice.
Hey, man, Stubbs should have went to your hospital 2.0. You probably could have fixed him up.
Oh, I could have fixed him up real nice. Oh, yeah. All right, and if he died, I could use him for parts or other machines. Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, my blank moment was when Maeve figured out that was Dolores, and Musashi, hold on, his name is Musashi's body. From Shogun World. When he walked out, I was like, oh! And then he started talking and he was like, you left us. And she was like, you're not him. And then she started going through the list. She was like, wait a minute, you're... And then I was like, oh!
So who is he?
It's Dolores.
Everybody is Dolores.
Everybody's Dolores. Charlotte's Dolores. Liam's Dolores. Musashi's Dolores. Everybody is...
Wait. What do you mean Liam is Dolores?
Liam is Dolores.
Liam who?
Tommy Flagan. His name is Liam.
No. Liam, his name isn't Liam.
What's his name?
Who's Tommy Flanagan's character?
Hold on.
Yeah.
His name is Martin.
Yeah.
His name is Martin. Liam is the guy who dated her for a second.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. But everybody, when I was like, everybody's Dolores, I was like, I literally was like, girl, Lauren, say it. I need you to do it.
What?
Girl. So I was like,
my thing was like, I'm trying to figure out who this is. And so did Dolores make all these copies of herself or just take the copies when she got, you know, I don't know, whenever she was killed in Westworld and where did she get Dolores copies from?
We don't know that exactly yet, right?
We don't know.
We don't know the specifics. We just know that they're copies. So you guys are talking about the part that got me in terms of how diabolical she is when she, as Charlotte Hale, basically had Ed Harris committed.
Yeah.
That's sick. Because she turned the tables on him and be like, oh yeah, I know you're talking to the figment of your imagination.
Your daughter, yeah.
Yeah, that was great.
I'm gonna say this: it was diabolical, but it was deserved.
It was.
It was deserved. He
Let him
deserved
live.
rot in
He
hell.
already living in his own personal hell, so just
Nah,
let him.
Nah, he deserved to rot in a subsection of hell in the basement. He deserved everything he got.
Be hot.
Son, I was like, are they really about to team up? And when she said, whew, Jesus, take the wheel. All I'm gonna say is, I'm still Team Dolores. I'm so Team Dolores right now.
I think I'm getting tired of her though. Like, cause it's like,
You shut your mouth.
what is her end game? Is she trying to take down the machine that knows everybody's future? Like, what is her real end game?
To provide a real world life for her and her people.
Then
Yeah.
why
So
can't she
here-
just go?
hold
Why
on.
can't she just go out there and go to Publix and get a job? And you know what I'm saying? That'd be real life.
Why do you want to work at?
That's
Hold on. Shout
Why
out
is
to the
it
Publix
the
workers. Hold on. Shout out to the Publix workers. I'm not knocking you. I'm not telling you.
real. That's a real job.
What I'm saying is, Dolores don't want that. She wants to create her own world for her people who have been persecuted. Think about all the things that Westworld is. Westworld is a place that humans use as their personal playground to do their wildest, darkest dreams.
Like Dolores already had a 9 to 5, and part of her nine
Yeah.
to five was getting raped on the daily.
Yeah.
Like that's
Right.
her. That was her 9 to 5.
Raped,
She
shot,
can go
stabbed.
outside of Westworld,
I'm
go
just
get
saying.
a marketing job or fashion model or whatever, and
Look,
live. Why she gotta destroy everything?
I am not knocking. I'm
Destroyed
not
her.
knocking any other job. But once you realize your existence was to be a slave, because think about this for a second. Everybody's job in these worlds was to be a slave to rich people. And I'm not talking just any other regular slave, like, hey, I need you to pick cotton. Your job was to because again, what we're not realizing is your job as a slave is to allow me as a rich person, a debutante, the 1% of the 1%, to live out my wildest, darkest fantasies. Remember, the man in black's wife killed herself because she saw the data of what her husband was really doing in this world.
Yeah.
That's how dark this was. And then they wake up and they realize some of them couldn't handle like what they really were, and some of them were like, "Wait, what? I have like this thing about Maeve. I have this attachment to this child, but I know this is not my biological child." Dolores, who Michael said, every day your job is to be degraded.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to work at Publix. I'm not knocking Publix. All I'm saying is, if that happens to me, and I understand Dolores totally.
I don't want a 9 to 5 anymore.
Not only I don't want a 9 to 5, burn it to the ground. You people who did this to me, I am going to wipe you out so me and mine can survive. And you know who she reminds me of? You know who she reminds me of? Magneto.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
She
so are we
reminds me.
setting up Magneto and Xavier with Maeve and or maybe it's Bernard might be Xavier.
Yeah, I'd
Yeah.
say that.
Maybe.
Because think about it like this. Bernard has always been, and it could be a part of his programming. Bernard has always been a benevolent type. I'm going to help. I'm always going to try to do the right thing. Dolores is like, F you and the horse you rode in on. I'm going to shoot you and the horse, and I'm going to crawl inside your corpse, and I'm going to take over your company.
Yeah.
So is Bernard Dolores too?
I don't think.
Bernard.
She brought Bernard back though.
I think Bernard is a conscience.
So she brought 5 of the little pearls, right?
Yep.
Yes.
We know 3 of them.
Dylan. That's who she brought back. Dolores.
Golf clap. Because I
I need to understand this. Break it down.
Okay, so she brought 5 of them. We know one is Bernard, and we know at least 3 of them are Dolores. So that means one more. So is it a Dolores or is it somebody else?
I think one of them's Teddy.
Man, I feel like
Teddy back.
Teddy.
Teddy
I
gone,
think
bro.
one of them's Teddy. I think one of them is Teddy. Once she gets done, I think her gift to Teddy is to live your life however you want to, outside of all of us manipulating you. Because Dolores knows at the end, she cranked Teddy up to 1,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I don't necessarily need. I don't know.
I'm always team Dolores, but I get where some people may be like, yo, Dolores might have taken this a little too far.
Yeah, she's taking this too far. And Maeve was supposed to bring her back. I mean, Maeve, I don't know.
I think Dolores and Sarek are going to end up being 2 sides of the same coin. 2 people who are ruthless.
Yeah.
2 people who are ruthless, who are going to do whatever it takes to protect their own. Because Sarek said something very interesting when she killed the courier or whoever. He said you sided with her over your own kind. Where I think we're going to end up in a situation where there are hosts running around and you're trying to figure out are you real or are you a host? And that's, I think, where we're going in that situation or that direction, where Sarek is like, I'm trying to save humanity, because let's be honest, humanity left to its own devices doesn't always do the best job.
Well, and Sarek kind of brought that up.
Mm-hmm.
He brought that up about humanity left its own devices, destroyed Paris and did whatever.
Preach.
Yeah. So you guys were talking about the music.
Yeah.
Now there was a scene with the strings.
Yes. So during the party that Liam thought he could just go and buy some girls, but he had no
party.
Yes. Gorn, when did you realize it was? Hold on. Do y'all know what song it is?
Yes, Wicked Games by Weeknd.
Michael, did you realize that?
I didn't know I knew it was a popular song, but I don't know which song it was.
Yeah.
I was like, I definitely like the arrangement of it. It was great.
But that's the thing. Like, I feel like that's what we were kind of missing a little bit. Unless I missed some of these songs in earlier episodes, I was missing the string version of popular songs. Is this the first one they brought up so far?
Oh no, they've been in every episode.
They've been in other episodes.
They're just so subtle. You don't.
This one was just louder, I think. This one was louder.
This one was louder for a reason, because the party that they were at was called what? The song is called Wicked Games. The party they were at was what Michael said. They're trying to buy girls or guys. I don't want to leave nobody out. Because that man who was standing like this, I was like, Mama, that's a man.
He was about to get trouble about somebody.
I was like, Mama, that's a man. I was like, I'd never look like that. And I passed every PT test in the military, and I was like, I've never looked like that. I thought it was very interesting they played that song and made it very prominent. But I also noticed something else. Lauren, you mentioned the strings and how they played the music. Mm-hmm. Notice the first 2 episodes. Was that a calliope that they were using? What was that? What was the form of? Michael, you the music person. You and Lauren, y'all both.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Because this soundtrack right here, all of the music was played the same way. And keep in mind, they went all over. They went exit music for film from Radiohead, House of the Rising Sun. You got Painted Black, Black Hole Sun. I mean, you had so many different popular music songs. But notice in this episode, or in this series, the music is all orchestra. It's string, it's all of that, and it's very subtle.
That piano that was like more like ding ding sounding, kind of like plucking sound. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't
Don't worry. The commenters down there, they'll tell us. But that I thought was very poignant. It was very poignant because it was a game they were entering a game or a party. And I thought that was very, and if you listen to the words of Wicked Games and you go back and read some of the lyrics from the Weeknd song, and that also,
devil and all that kind of stuff, and
I thought that was very interesting. They picked that song for that scene.
Yeah.
So, once again, another soundtrack I will be buying because I thought it was amazing.
Yeah.
I want to give a shout out also because my homeboy, friend of the show, that I was glad to see was back on the show, Hiroyuki Sanada, who plays I love him. He was great in a show called Helix.
Helix was great. That was a good show.
Yes, it was. Ahead of its time. Also, kind of a little bit what we're dealing with right now. He was also in The Last Samurai. And Michael, you'll appreciate this because he's in. He's in Mortal Kombat coming up.
Oh, playing who?
I don't want to tell you. Go look it up. You'll be surprised. You'll be interested. You'll like it.
Interesting.
I gotta pull my phone out.
Okay.
But I loved him in The Last Samurai, one of my favorite movies of all time. It is a little white explaining where Tom Cruise is the white savior, but I love that movie, and he was in it. He was great in it.
Yeah.
But
yeah, when I saw him, I was like, oh, I thought he was. It's just weird how. Okay, so Dolores can make anybody as long as she has what?
The cradle.
The cradle. But I mean, don't you have to know what these people look like? You gotta. This is like detail beyond belief, though, right?
But you gotta remember,
she's all supercomputers.
And she's a supercomputer with the power of insight. Remember, she stole that data company, and she has a plethora of knowledge downloaded from when she left Westworld. So she has the schematics of people, whoever she wants, when she left. And keep in mind, she still has Charlotte Hale, aka Dolores, working and is now in charge of Delos. Because she took out Ed Harris, so now she's the controlling interest or the president of the company, and she now runs it. So whatever schematics Dolores can send Dolores, and she'd be like, "Hey, remember that third guy from the left in the bar from Tuesday? Let me get him." Because that's literally, and then Sarek realizes, because that's when the anomaly happened, because he found the old house.
He about to play Scorpion.
He's gonna be Scorpion. Okay.
Yep.
That's cool.
Lord, you just had your head. I can see it right now. Your mind is just.
That's gonna be dope. That's gonna be dope. All right, back to Westworld. All right, what we?
I mean, I feel like we kind of talk about everything, right?
Yeah.
All I'm gonna say is this episode to me was right now it's my favorite one.
Yeah.
We're starting to see the plan take shape, and you're starting to now realize who the players are. And you're realizing that you have two people on a collision course who are the most ruthless people we have seen so far.
Past William. I mean, I guess he's no good anymore, right?
I will say he's just as ruthless. Only difference is he's more big picture because Sarek bought into Delos before William even got it off the ground, knowing what it would be. That's some planning.
I need to see William escape this insane asylum.
Me too.
I need to see him get out, and because he's got to save the world. That's what that trailer told us he was gonna do.
I need him to stay in there and suffer. You let your son die. You indirectly killed your wife and directly killed your daughter. Raped Dolores on a regular basis.
Oh, he thought she was a host. Come on now,
Lauren. You killing your mama because you thought she was a host?
No. But she ain't about to be in that situation.
I'm just saying. William, aka the Man in Black, is pure evil. I believe it. Now, I think you'll need him eventually, But at least the difference is Sarek wanted to save the world.
Mm-hmm.
William just wanted to control it. Now, I think Sarek wanted to control it too, but at least I feel like in his own twisted little head, he's trying to save the world, whereas William just tried to make a buck and live forever.
Yeah. Rich people doing rich people things.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Rich people.
Lauren, what you about to say?
Nothing.
Okay.
I think. Well, let me see what else I had. I don't know if I had anything else on my notes. Yeah, it was basically. That was it. It was the soundtrack. It was Paris gone, Maeve being Maeve, Dolores being Dolores, and then I was trying to figure out who Dolores brought back, and so y'all cleared that up. I still don't know. Y'all really think it's those three are Dolores?
Oh, definitely.
Every single one of them is Dolores.
I don't know if the last one's Dolores. I think it makes sense, but maybe there's a curveball.
Which one?
Because we know we have a counter for 4 of them. There's one we still haven't seen yet.
See, this is my question. I don't even know if every single one of those pearls are Dolores's. I think Dolores, and this is my theory, I think Dolores copied herself once she got out. But each of those pearls may be somebody once she saves the world for her kind, allows for them to live their life without the strings attached to being in the world. But I thought it was very interesting that Sarek wants the same thing from Dolores that Delos wanted. The data from the host that were uploaded to the cloud. He wants that for his people. And whereas Dolores is like, let them be. Because she's not, and that's I'm wondering if we're going to see Dolores change her methodology to fight him and be as dirty as he is. Because you can see he has no compulsion of taking a life or using anybody to get what he wants.
He didn't blink when he shot old dude.
Yeah.
The question is, and Michael, you brought it up earlier, did he kill his brother? Because in the preview, both of you watch the preview?
Yeah.
It was very telling that the system, there are people they can't account for. They don't know how they will react. And I believe the system points them out and says, kill them. And I think his brother
can't account for?
Yep, because they can't predict what you will or won't do. And I think
it's just like Person of Interest. Y'all go watch Person of Interest.
Hey, y'all listen to Michael. He says Person of Interest is pretty good. And M'Baku was on it, so.
Yeah, he was.
M'Baku and Jesus.
Yeah.
M'Baku Jesus is in it, so go watch that. Jim Caviezel. He was Jesus.
Yeah, I got it.
Passion of the Christ.
Yeah. All right, y'all. We gonna wrap up?
All right.
Yeah, I'm good. Man. Lauren, you were right.
Bruh.
Michael, title this episode. Michael, titles this episode just ... bruh.
Okay. Fair enough. So that's it for us, y'all. Appreciate y'all sticking with us as we do this social distancing, still bringing you guys reviews and reactions and all that stuff. You can always find us here on YouTube, also Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, WOTX.com. Like, comment, subscribe, and we out.
Hit that bell.
The bell. We out.